The story of Ananias and Sapphira is a deeply compelling and sobering account found in the book of Acts, chapter 5. It takes place in the early days of the Christian church when the apostles were spreading the message of Jesus Christ, and the believers were living in a spirit of unity, love, and generosity. The early Christians had a practice of selling their possessions and sharing the proceeds with the community to ensure that no one among them was in need. This selflessness reflected their devotion to God and their commitment to each other. Among the believers were a couple named Ananias and Sapphira. Inspired, perhaps, by the generous actions of others, they sold a piece of property, but unlike their peers, they decided to hold back part of the money for themselves. They conspired together to present the remaining portion as if it were the entire proceeds of the sale, intending to appear just as generous and selfless as others in the community. It was an act of deceit, driven by pride and a desire for recognition, while secretly retaining what they believed would safeguard their own security. Ananias was the first to bring the money to the apostles. He laid it at Peter's feet, hoping to gain the approval and admiration of the community. However, Peter, filled with the Holy Spirit, discerned the truth of what had happened. Peter confronted Ananias directly, saying, "Ananias, why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit and keep back part of the price of the land for yourself? While it remained unsold, was it not your own? And after it was sold, was it not in your control? Why have you conceived this thing in your heart? You have not lied to men but to God." At Peter's words, Ananias immediately collapsed and died. His sudden death shocked everyone who witnessed it. The young men present rose, wrapped up his body, carried him out, and buried him. Fear and awe spread among the community as they began to understand the gravity of what had taken place. 3 hours later, Sapphira arrived, unaware of what had happened to her husband. Peter gave her an opportunity to tell the truth. He asked her, "Tell me, is this the price you and Ananias got for the land?" She confirmed the lie, standing by the falsehood she and her husband had conspired to tell. Peter said to her, "How is it that you have agreed together to test the Spirit of the Lord? Look, the feet of those who buried your husband are at the door, and they will carry you out as well." At these words, Sapphira also fell down dead. The young men entered, found her lifeless body, and carried her out to bury her beside her husband. The deaths of Ananias and Sapphira sent shockwaves through the entire church and the surrounding community. Great fear came upon all who heard of these events, and the story became a powerful and lasting reminder of God's holiness, the importance of honesty, and the consequences of testing the Lord. This account serves as a stark warning against hypocrisy, deceit, and pride. Ananias and Sapphira's actions were not just a lie to the apostles or the community. They were a lie to God Himself. The story emphasizes the seriousness of sin and the need for believers to live lives of integrity, transparency, and humility before God. It also highlights the omniscience of God, who knows the thoughts and intentions of every heart. The early church was marked by an extraordinary unity and devotion to God, and this incident underscored the sacredness of that unity. While the story of Ananias and Sapphira may seem harsh, it reflects God's desire for His people to live in truth and sincerity, free from pretense and deceit. It reminds us that our actions, even those done in secret, are always seen by God. Their story continues to resonate as a cautionary tale, urging believers to examine their hearts and strive to live lives that honor God in every way.